have a chat about the bigger picture, boys, which we have to talk about clearly pretty much every show now because we're in the very thick of it. We're in the great game, and Town are in the fight. AJ, they've let me read you this stat: first 10 games, 5 points; last 10 games, 11 points. And obviously, we've seen over the last 2 games they feel like they're getting better. They're finding the way that they're going to survive in this league. Wolves obviously play tonight. They've improved. Everton, however, interesting. Everton can't score goals and they're coming backwards. So how are we feeling about it as we sit here now, AJ? And then we'll ask you, Ross.
Really good. It's almost a little bit unfortunate that the run of games coming up is what it is because they are daunting tests. I mean, the Brighton game now feels huge. Then hosting City, going to Liverpool, eases a little bit after that. And it's probably not what you want when you're trying to kind of keep in touch with the teams above you. But in terms of what they've been able to do where they are at the moment, they've done really, really well. And the competitiveness is there. I had a look last night in terms of how other teams were dealing at the halfway mark. I think that aside from all the local rivalry, in terms of the kind of the clubs and their ethos, Norwich are quite a good benchmark in terms of what they've had to deal with in their promotions. And it feels that Ipswich are definitely a step ahead of where they were in both of their last 2 spells in the Premier League. They're obviously miles ahead of where teams like Sheffield United were this time last year and Burnley as well. There's a lot of talk about sometimes doing a loose and being really competitive and maybe just falling short with the quality, but they've given themselves every single chance. There's a real fight there. And we've always spoken as well about Ipswich improving as the season goes on. That's been a big thing. And Kieran McKenna's spoken about that a lot. This team will improve as the season goes on. And if this is the start of it, and it feels like it really could be, then they will continue to pick up points at this rate. And if they can continue to do that, then they've got every chance of staying up. And the attacking thing will be important. I think defensively, they seem to have found a bit of a solution now. And it's about the attacking side. If you've got, where are we now in terms of the goals, let's say, let's take Delap, who's got 8 goals already just past the halfway mark. Smolix has got 4. If they were to finish the season, really difficult, let's say, Delap 16, Smolix 8, that would be an unbelievable output at this level with others chipping in as well. So if they're starting to find that balance there and they can maintain the defensive side, every single chance. And that's all that we could really ask for, isn't it? We just wanted to be in a situation where we're not at the halfway point in the season saying, well, we'll plan for the championship and we'll be able to bounce back. No, this is a team that's really right in the fight. And that's exciting. That's really good. And it'd be interesting to keep an eye on what's going on around Ipswich, starting with Wolves tonight against Forest.
Yeah, go on. Score loads of goals tonight, Chris Wood, please, because you're in my FL side. We'll come on to that in a minute. So, Rossi, Southampton, they're done. Stick a fork in them. They're baked. They're down. The only question now is whether or not they'll beat Derby's record for futility. But clearly then you've got Leicester, Town, Wolves, Everton right in that kind of mix for the final 2 relegation spots. And
Man
yes,
United.
Man United, of course, Amrin said they are in the... I'm not sure about that, but wouldn't that be fun if they were? Anyway, Rossi, 2 home games coming up after the FA Cup. Yes, they're tough games, Brighton, Man City, but they're 2 home games, building on this sense. And I really feel it's a tangible thing. It's easy to say because this is football, isn't it? After Newcastle, it was incredibly deflating. And then, yes, they looked a bit better against Arsenal, but inevitably, well, not inevitably, but Arsenal certainly dominated that game and deserved to win. And it felt a bit like, where are the points going to come from? Then they beat Chelsea. Then they go and get this draw at Fulham. They've got this system that seems to be working really well. And suddenly, it starts to feel like things are possible again, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to quote Sir Alf Ramsey.
Yes.
Fine.
I feel fine.
Yes. I will admit, after the Newcastle game, I thought, oh, God, this is going to be a long winter.
I mean, I do remember you calling it, I think, close to calling it at some point, Rossi.
No, put words in my mouth there. But yeah, I was like, oh, God, another winter. Because obviously the last few winters have not been great, actually. This is where McKenna, this is his, what's the word? It's kryptonite. Probably not. That's not the word to say. It's another word.
He doesn't like the cold.
Yeah,
he doesn't like the cold. But it's like, just it felt like every winter we have that little blip. And obviously we somewhat did with the Newcastle and the Arsenal game, but I think no one thought we were going to get anything out of those ones. But the Chelsea game really gave me confidence. This team have made that step up. Players have really shown they can play against a good team. Because Chelsea, at the end of the day, they are a decent team. And then Fulham as well. So getting 4 points out of those 2, incredible. And it's just giving that positivity. And the window's open now. Godfrey, I think, is a solid signing. So yeah, it's still going to be a long, hard season. Still some big games to come, but we just got to back these boys to the final game, because at the end of the day, I always just pinch myself, say I win the Premier League. I know people are getting sick of that now, but I think me and Stu yesterday were just saying, like, at the end of the day, we're watching Premier League football.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it, because I never thought this would happen. So just keep enjoying it, ladies and gentlemen, and yeah, bring it on.
I think Terry, one of our columnists, North Stander, Terry Hunt, former Anglian editor, said essentially in his column today, it's a sign of how far they've come that drawing at Fulham, a side who are a really good side in the Premier League, it kind of feels disappointing. So if that can continue going forward, and remember, May, what if they got in May? They got Leicester, they got West Ham, Everton, all of them playing in May. It could go all the way down to the wire, and that would be some thrilling stuff. And in terms of McKenna not liking the cold, Rossi, did you like his coat, by the way? Sandbanks coat? You want one of them? 650 quid is going to set you back. So there we go. That's why he's spending his big money on. He needs to be warm on that sideline to keep the old tactical mind going.